Hello, everyone, and welcome to another inspiring episode of Actuaries Speaks, a podcast powered by Jai Hind College. Here we bring you closer to the leaders in the world of actuarial science, helping aspiring actuaries explore the path ahead. Hi, I am Archita, your host for today, a curious student passionate about actuarial science. Today, we are honored to welcome Mr. Gurpreet Babbar, a fellow of both Institute of Faculty of Actuaries and the Institute of Actuaries of India with extensive experience across consulting and corporate actuarial roles. Mr. Gurpreet, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Archita, and thank you, Jai Hind College, for having me. Specifically Dr. Vijay for contacting and getting in touch. So, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to adding some value here.
Okay. So to begin with, could you share your journey with us into actuarial profession? What initially inspired you to pursue this field? And what were some of your pivotal moments in your early career?
Right. So I would break it down. I think they break down the question into first how I got to know about actuarial, and then what all pivotal moments have been there in my career in the early specifically. So you can call me an accidental actuary, as in I've heard the
Okay.
word actuary by when I was in my 10th standard. In our school, we had some career counselor visiting us, and he was just told about actuarial. Like it is such a niche field, so many less people are doing, there is so much potential. And I just got maybe not inspired at that moment because we were still figuring out, it was our early 10th standard, but that word just went into my dictionary. Later on, as time passed, I just completed my first semester of my college, and I had a friend who was just living in my neighborhood, and he one day asked me that, okay, let's go to North Campus for a quick lunch on a Saturday afternoon. So I was okay, like it's a good time pass you can do. To my surprise, on the way he asked me that, okay, he told me about his journey of actuarial, that he has cleared one exam, this is a new field, and he has to attend the demo class of the second actuarial exam before our planned lunch. I was taken aback. Why didn't you told me? I have planned your schedule according to that, but I could not do anything. So I went to the institute with him where he was taking his coachings and all, and I couldn't find a seat at the reception. And the manager was also quick to grasp that, okay, he's someone accompanying his friend to some class and he's not able to find a seat. So let me grab on him, and let's also ask him to do actuarial. So very cleverly he asked me, why don't you attend the demo class of the first paper? You will at least find a seat there. We have a seat. You can sit at the back. And I have been a person all throughout. So the underlying thought has been that I don't like to travel the path which is already taken. I like to take the path which is unconventional in life and choose things which are unique or somewhere that, okay, non-traditional. For example, also in my graduation, maybe there was an option of doing the regular BCom, Eco Honors, Maths Honors. I chose BMS, which is the most upcoming professional course in Delhi University, through an entrance exam at that time. So I chose that. So, and that is because I would like to challenge. Like, okay, something is set apart. Like, okay, but why is it set apart? So when I attended my first demo class of that first actuarial paper, in first time in my life, I was like, okay, this is something really interesting to study. What all the concepts are being taught are actually applicable in the real world, and we hear it day in, day out. For example, that person was telling us that how repo rates are set by the central bank and how they are useful in the economy. This is something really practical you hear about all there in newspapers and all. But it was something that in your studies has never occurred. I always questioned, and I still question that, okay, why did we learn those integrations and differentiations, but they have been no use? So on that day, and after, of course, knowing that there is a good scope in all those aspects of actuarial, and it's very interesting. So I started my journey from that point of, and then there was no looking back.
Oh,
Some of
yes.
Yes, so I started my journey, and thanks to my friend, he's living in Canada now, and I think he
Oh,
stopped doing actual and started doing something else. But yes, he introduced me to actuarial, and there has been some. That is how my journey has been. On some of the pivotal moments in my earlier career were, of course, at that time, when you are in your graduation, you are trying to clear as many papers as possible. Like I tried to clear 5 exams, and I had 5 exams before I was looking for a job. So getting that first job is, I think, your pivotal moment in your actuarial career. That how
True.
to actually grab upon it, and what all things to consider, what all options are available to you, what kind of work streams are there, and how you actually land up your first job and start to experience the real actual industry in its whole sense. So that is a pivotal moment where you understand and learn, and actually maybe pat your back that okay, choose a career, because whatever I studied was like directly applicable to my job, and any new concept that I was learning in my job, and still of course it's applicable throughout your journey of being an actuary, that whatever you study is directly applicable to your job, and whatever you learn in your job is directly applicable to your future exams or study. So it's a very win-win situation for a person and getting that push. So a pivotal moment was that okay, patting your back that okay, after getting into a job, that it's quite good for you. So that is how I think I would answer the first question. Yes.
That was quite inspirational. I mean, something, very different, and you were prepared, and you were very young and naive, and it's really truly inspirational for me. So, yeah, reflecting on your exam journey, what were some of your main challenges you encountered? And how did you stay motivated throughout, and organized through it all?
Right. So for anyone giving actuarial exams, there are like two phases. One phase is in when they have started their exams in their graduations or masters, suppose. So particularly at that time, they have a good amount of time to give to their actuarial studies, like in with college and all, because you can dedicate a lot of time. Once you move to, so the first challenge that comes actually, like I would, if you are doing a college, I would say okay, still you have pretty much of time to give to your actual exams. So not a big challenge there. But once you moved into a job, of course, the demanding nature of the job takes a lot of time. It would mean traveling. It would mean a
True.
lot of kind of considering other things. For example, for me, I had to travel 2.5 hours to and fro.
Wow.
So it was 5 hours of traveling and then working, of course, more than 9, 10 hours. So there was practically any time left to kind of study, which was a hard thing to believe and kind of accept. So it was, I have to change my routine a lot. That okay, let me wake up early in the morning at 4, study some bits while I'm traveling in the cab or metro. Let me read from my iPad or pages, and while coming back also in metro or cab, again keep reading. So like those few moments of turning the pages while you're traveling added up. So that was of course bit of
Mm.
a challenge. One, the second challenge that you face in your actual journey is that it's first of all a marathon. It's not
Mm.
something a 100-meter race. And when you're running a marathon, they're like phases. There, if you are very lucky enough, you will clear all exams in one go. But that is what hardly happens. You will definitely have
Mm.
your failures, and how to handle those failures is something you learn when you face that failure. It is very different
Correct.
for one another. So like once I was feeling that okay, this CT8 exam, now it's CM2, very very important for me, and I missed that by 1 mark. I could say that I became sad for a pretty good time. That why, like questioning, okay, this is already a very difficult exam, and I need to clear this, and it's very difficult to again study because you put lot of heart and soul into it, and then missing by 1 mark. So it really really feels you, but then when you are in that zone, you realize that this is part of life. So actual journey is actually depicting what life is also, that okay, there are ups and downs, and how you
Mm.
deal with downs are actually what defines your greater ups. So those phases of dealing with failures, those phases with kind of tackling that okay, how to manage job and your exams all together, are bit of those challenges. And ones who are kind of consistent, I think in actual journey, the most important thing is being consistent, because it's a very long journey. Intensity won't make much of a difference. For example, if trying to give 2 3 exams at one go, so that won't help much. But so the mantra, or what you say, if you have to give a tagline, so I would give it that tagline: consistency over intensity. So that is what need to be taken for actual exams and tackling them.
So very well said, and you've phrased it so well. How to, and it is like inspiring us. See, how can we organize our study while we are traveling, while we are, at leisure, or maybe planning our studies. So, moving on to the next question, from your perspective, what are some of the core skills a student should possess or focus on developing in order to succeed in today's actuarial landscape?
Right. So again, I would give you a quote where maybe it can become a headline of this whole talk. It's a very famous quote. Again, if you are only an actuary, you are not an actuary. It's a brain tattoo again, repeating it. If you are only an actuary, you are not an actuary. In this fast-paced facing world where there is an evolving landscape, there are disruption happening related to AI, different other technologies. Just focusing on what your core material is wouldn't be enough. So of course you need to be abstract with all the AI technologies or you what you say developments are happening, how they actually reframe or kind of connect with the work that you would be doing. And also, I think it's very much important to build up a personality and X factor, that you have a voice. More importantly, we actuaries or subject matter experts face a problem that we have lot of good skills, we have lot of subject matter expertise, but we are not able to convey them because somewhere we lack those skill set to convey those hard and complex matters to the non-complex audience or the non-technical audience. So communication, kind of building those networking skills, kind of being absorbed with all the technologies. Like a tip if has to be shared with the students is try to read Economic Times daily. Specifically,
Okay,
it's a
yeah,
very simple habit, but it gives you a lot of information of the financial world, and we up to date at what's happening. Every Tuesday in Economic Times, there is a full one pager of artificial intelligence, what all recent developments are happening. Even if one is not able to catch up in real time that what's happening in deep, but there is a kind of a bit of feeling that okay, you know things from an outer perspective or from a broad perspective. So in today's world, it's very important, and that is what we see in candidates we interview, that how they're able to portray themselves, because that is what in this global scenario, this is not a world where we just sit and have a back end work. We are interacting with clients all over the world, and when we are interacting with clients, we need first of all a clarity of thought, and that clarity of thought would be kind of visible when we are talking or conveying different concepts. So it's very important we focus on these qualitative aspects, and of course adding and upskilling ourselves to kind of be the actuary of the future. So that is the whole goal. Like now today's world also, every day it's a bit of feeling with me after qualifying specifically, that what to do next, how to be greater, how to upskill, how to reach the next level, because till you are
correct.
qualifying you still have a direction that okay, these exams are there and you qualify, but after that to do, you have to really keep on reinventing yourself every day.
Hmm.
So that is what that I think, because it takes a lot of time. For example, I'm a public speaker also from a last 10 years, a
Yes,
decade. So
yes.
over the time period, those things have been accumulated and adding up, and they do help you in your day-to-day journey and also overall achievement in your job, or you can say any kind of work you're doing.
Very true. And so, moving on to the next question. Actually, our profession in India has grown significantly over the past decade. So, how would you describe this evolution, and what are emerging opportunities do you foresee for our young actuaries like us in near future?
Right. So I think the thanks to the globalization, that why this abrupt or you can say the more addition of actual opportunities has been India, because this is kind of being driven by the expansion of global capability centers or global work, like how the work from different worlds or different parts of the world is coming into to India, and that is kind of increasing the actual exposure or actual opportunities here in India. So thanks to that, first of all, that why this is evolving, and this will keep on evolving because India has a great cost advantage as versus to different countries of the West, and also with kind of skill set we possess, like which is also global. So all things just add up, and efficiency. So efficiency, cost benefit, and global skill set. It actually helps us to kind of deliver more, and also in the Indian context, in recent budget also we saw that FDI in insurance companies has been raised from to now 100%. So that definitely means more insurance companies are coming in. They would require more actuaries, and the world of actuaries is evolving and kind of increasing. And if we are aiming to having insurance for all, which is also one of the visions of Viksit Bharat, that we have insurance for all. And when we mean insurance for all, the backbone of insurance is actuaries. So all these kind
Actuaries.
of adds up, and where we would be working, and the global landscape would be increasing for us. So that is one. And what was the second part of the question? Sorry.
So, what are the emerging opportunities do you foresee for young actuaries in the near future?
Right. So I think it's already happening that apart from non-traditional areas, we are also focused, and we are getting work in different non-traditional areas, like for example, AI technologies, data science, climate risk, and other kind of risks. There where traditionally we were not working, but now actuaries are working. So, and I think that should be the thought process also now, that how to expand and come out of that bubble. So there could
Correct.
be kind of intermingled opportunities where actuaries are working in financial fields more, like for example investment, stock markets, banking. They already do, but we can increase our exposure and work there and add greater value, because actuaries have the skill set of kind of assessing the long term financial risk. And when we get master of assets also, so we do have that good capabilities to serve the world in a much better way, in a complete manner. So
True.
we should be, there is a lot of emerging opportunities in such areas. And I think as a young actually, the focus should also be there, that okay, how do I get into something with actuarial science, into something non-traditional, and kind of
Okay.
break the barriers, or just not follow the path which is taken by everyone, because that would mean a more rewarding career. And specifically at the start, there could be a element of risk that a one person can take, and even afterwards, so you can take it anytime. But I would definitely encourage even to myself to kind of explore more emerging opportunities and kind of work there.
Yes, thank you for all those valuable insights. Now, to conclude our session on a lighter note, we would like to do a short rapid fire round. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, absolutely. Chalo, let's go ahead. What is one piece of advice you would give to every aspiring actuary?
Consistency and celebrations. So this is a CNCs in terms of terms and conditions, that be consistent and celebrate your achievements instead of partying every day. So
Okay.
that is the
So, your favorite domain or subject within actuarial science?
actually it's reporting. So like any kind of
Okay.
reporting work. So because it gives a very broader picture, and that is actually the piece of work which is taken care and goes to the leadership. So you get a very good hindsight of things, that okay, what all things are happening in the company, etc.
Okay. An underrated skill you believe all actuaries should develop?
Definitely communication skill, kind of effective speaking.
Hmm.
Yes.
And a book, a podcast, or any resource material you would recommend to actuarial students?
I think any book would do. Like I personally kind of so read my favorite book, which is actually Sherlock Holmes, The Adventure of Sherlock Holmes. I'm fan of detective novels. So and
Wow.
novel yes. So in a just any book for it, just to kind of keeping that habit up. That okay, one is reading and also getting a taste, because we are kind of tied up in this social media apps a lot. So any book
Correct.
which you help self help books, or kind of any thing. I would say podcast, yes, but then try to kind of disconnect yourself from the digital gadgets at
Digital
times,
damage.
and just because anyways you would be surrounding day in day out with them. So physical books, I
Yes,
would say, just preference over that.
very true. One interesting or unexpected fact about your journey as an actuary.
Interesting, interesting or okay. So I think one thing, we think too much. Like sometimes I do say this in different kind of talks, that we want to launch first, and we want to launch big, and we want to launch big and don't fail. But actually, we just know the next step. So we just know the next step that we have to take in our journey, and that is something we should be focusing. And that is a realization over my journey, that we are just aiming. Okay, we we will do this, but actually we just know the next step, which is just to be consistent or doing hard work or just focusing on our priorities. And eventually, our, if there is a belief, our plan is very smaller than actually what God's plan is. So
Very true.
we just focus on our hard work and be with humility, and God's plan is greater, and that is where you just realize with over your journey that things you didn't even imagine happen to you. So just keep
Okay.
focusing whatever your priorities are. So that would be my take from my journey.
Yes. So this is it. Thank you. Thank you, sir. This is Archita, your host for today, signing off from Jai Hind College. We encourage all our listeners to stay curious, keep learning, and strive for excellence in whatever they are doing. Thank you so much. Take care. Until next time.
Okay. Thank you, Archita.